Tekken 8 has been a game with some really high highs and some pretty low lows as a Tekken fan. But the latest Tekken Live Talk, the Heihachi Mishima special, today on September 24th, gave me a lot of hope in the development team and in the video game of Tekken 8 as a product. They've been listening, they've been taking feedback, and they've been making changes that align with both their design philosophies and what people have been honestly complaining about. And that's really exciting to me. So the Tekken Live Talks, if you don't know about these, are 2.5-hour podcast style events. They have conversations in Japanese, Michael Murray will translate, and then they show like PowerPoint presentations of the new content coming to the game. 2.5 hours is a long time, so I want to try to boil it down as quickly as possible, give you the highlights and the lowlights. Is lowlight? Is that what they call it? Lowlights? Just give you an idea of what's coming, right? So we'll get into that as quickly as possible. Now, they do a big breakdown of Heihachi in this. It's so deep that I think it belongs in a separate video because there's so much content here that I'm honestly more excited for the game improvements, the quality of life stuff, than Heihachi at this time. So I think it's really worth digging into. I think it's going to improve the experience of play for everybody, and I want to hurry up and get into it. So I have timestamps for the entire actual Tekken talk. So if you wanted to watch along, you can save these timestamps and watch the actual thing. Maybe jump where you want, see the original presentation in a bit of a guided way. But yeah, so I'm going to try to give you a quick summary. So early on here, early timestamps, just them starting the stream. Nothing big. Murray has a cold. They show the trailer again. Cool. Release dates. September 30th, if you're in the Pacific time zone. They didn't give a time, but I'm assuming it's around midnight. And then October 1st for Central European time. Now, this is for people with the Ultimate Edition or whatever. October 3rd is the Pacific release time for everybody. But the new patch, version 1.08, is coming on that first date, the September 30th. Now, this update, they show a bit of a timeline. June and September, we had 1.06, 1.07, minor changes. 1.08 brings Heihachi, the new stage, story mode, customization, and tons of quality of life. I keep saying it, but I'm really, really so excited about the quality of life changes. There's also going to be some balance adjustments, but they explicitly say they're not going to talk about it in this Tekken talk. So unfortunately, we don't know the balance direction. We do know from previous announcements that they don't want to make major changes, but they are still obviously paying attention to tournaments and online experiences for everybody. They have back-end data and people's feedback. They consider both. Here's the list of updates they're all going to cover. Tons of Tekken Shop and collaborations. I don't want to spend too much time on those. I obviously think it's important that Tekken has like this brand strength that people are happy to interact with. I know some people who are excited for these things in game. Tons of people obviously aren't. I hear that in the comments nonstop. But ultimately, I think some press is better than no press. I think keeping our game alive, even if it's through these kind of corporate collaborations, is something. Obviously, they're bringing Heihachi. I don't know if the stage is free or not. Right? I don't know if the stage is free. The last stage was free, and in Tekken 7, if you didn't own a DLC stage, you just couldn't roll it in online matches. I don't know if this stage is going to be free or paid. That's something I would like to learn more about. So I want to skip through as much of the Tekken Shop stuff as quickly as possible, and then get to talking about these new features, because it's one bullet point, but really, they're such game changers. I think they're so important. They talk about some Heihachi lore. You know, he's the king of Iron Fist. He's that guy. He owns the Mishima Zaibatsu. Kazuya leads G Corp after Tekken 4, or maybe in the middle of Tekken 4 as well. And then Kazuya kills Heihachi allegedly in Tekken 7 with Patricide Fist, and he still has the scars from it. Throws him into the lava, and then in the trailer, Heihachi says, "Some measly lava won't stop me." Here are some screenshots of Heihachi. Really, really a lot of attention to detail in his animations, in his model, and obviously because he's the face of Tekken. But it was pretty cool to see. If you haven't seen my reaction to the trailer, please check that out. It's really cool. Genmaji Temple. Again, they don't mention if it's a free stage. They did mention explicitly that the beach stage was free, so I'm curious if that's a different story here. There's the nighttime, evening, or like twilight into evening transition, and then there's a selectable daytime, and they'll talk about how they implemented that into stage select. You hit square. That's how you implement it. Let me show you the Heihachi main menu. Again, we're not going to dive into the character here, but I think it's cool to check it out then. Take a look. This is one of the fun reveals. They have the early build of the new Tekken 1.08, and we get to see this frowning, angry man back from the dead. Yeah, they put a lot of attention to detail in this. They have to make sure the character... They use the in-game character model, right? So the lighting is essential to make sure the character looks good. Obviously, like casting the right shadows and things like that. Some really detailed models can look terrible with the wrong lighting. And then they also tune the character's facial expressions, and that's going to be relevant later for one of the biggest quality of life changes that I'm excited about. They show his costumes off. This is his costume 3. I didn't know he grew his hair that long. I didn't know he could. I thought he was super bald. Maybe that's what the hat is for. Chakra beads are apparently an allusion to Buddhism. I don't know if that plays into the story. Like, I'm not cultured enough to know. Maybe someone in the comments can let me know. They show stage select. Here, again, you can see a big square here. That means you can select the daytime or the nighttime version, which is pretty cool. You can see that it's kind of hidden behind there, right? They have the daytime version hiding behind. I'm assuming that toggles when you select that. They talk about it, but they didn't really show it. Oh, no, they do. It toggles. There we go. I just didn't pay attention. And then they do a big Heihachi demonstration. Again, that's for a separate video. I want to really dive into that and go into depth because he introduces tons of new mechanics that weren't in Tekken 8 before or in any Tekken before. He can like charge up moves, and if you let go at the perfect time, he gets enhanced properties. That's brand new to Tekken. That's completely brand new. They had charge moves before, but none that like rewarded you for a frame perfect release, right? Okay, so there's Tekken Shop stuff here. Feel free to jump to the timestamp below if you don't care about any of this. New Fight Pass. The Nike collab is free. So that's a part of the free tier, which I think is cool. They have seasonal Halloween costumes. And then they talked about this that I was excited about. They're adding a lot of free items as usual. And then they're running sales on the old items. I think that's pretty important. Even though it's a controversial topic to have microtransactions in the first place, I like the idea that things are getting cheaper. Like, to me, something is better than nothing, right? I think it's the best we got. Anyways, free stuff. Story update. Unforgotten Echoes is the new story expansion that is completely free, and you get to play Eddie, Lydia, and Heihachi DLC characters without buying the DLC. Again, there are executive needs that probably say you can't use them in replay mode or practice mode, but at least we have this, and I personally find that exciting. Yes, it's probably built to get people to actually buy the DLC, but again, I'm of the belief that something is better than nothing. So when you boot up the story mode, it tells you there are spoilers. Maybe you should play the main story first. And then it shows this menu. Now, what was cool to me here is they have Tekken 7, 6, 5, and 4. Are they going to add chapters for the previous games? Maybe make them playable? This is a really cool template that's really promising. I don't know if that's the case. And I hope they're not just getting my hopes up. But it would be really cool to play like a story scene from Tekken 4. They already have like a remade Tekken 5 scene, right? Where you fight all the Jack robots. So that would be really cool if we could revisit the whole Tekken series through Tekken 8. They have a bunch of lore and stuff here. This is really, really sick, man. Yeah, I'm really excited. I like the story mode a lot in Tekken 8. So let's see, what is this here? Yeah, tons of chapters from the first one, and then, yeah, Unforgotten Echoes happens in between chapters 8 and 9. So that's what this visual indicates here. Pretty exciting stuff. All right, more Tekken Shop stuff. Again, feel free to skip if you don't care. I know some people, like my sister, is really into these kind of collaborations. Me, I'm not really a sneakerhead, in case that wasn't obvious. So not that cool to me, but it's free. So you might as well check it out. This is what the Jin foam posits look like in-game. Kind of like the real ones. And then these are the Kazuya ones. All part of the free tier. Kazuya's level 60, Jin's level 2. Moving on. Gentle Monster is another collaboration. I have never heard of this brand. I'm not cultured. But apparently they're selling these real sunglasses for $500. Harada's wearing them now. Oh, the whole team is wearing them except Nakatsu. And they will also have an in-game equivalent, which is available for free. Again, I think the cool part about this is that Tekken has enough brand reliability to get other brands interested in them. I think that that's a very not easy thing to pull off. One cool thing worth looking at is there's a part here where Harada is wearing both sunglasses. Anyways, enough of that. All right. Welcome back. If you jump to this timestamp, we're at my first favorite quality of life feature. Main menu customization. People have been asking for this since the first main menu with Kazuya. They said, I think Kazuya is ugly. Can't we put a pretty girl there? And we can. We can put every pretty girl there. It turns out that the facial expressions were tuned manually, and the poses were all tuned manually. So they precision craft how to do this, right? You go to settings, go to screen settings, and in there they have main menu character display settings, and it lets you choose the character. It lets you choose their preset costume, no customs, unfortunately. But they're really insistent on kind of quality when it comes to this. They want their characters to be presented a certain way. They want them to appear a certain way. They want to make you feel a certain way, and they talk about this. Let me grind it back. This is REINA. I think it looks really good. So like everything from eye contact, facial expression, costume, lighting is so important because they're using the same character models as in game. So I'm just gonna ramble while we let this go because I think this is so cool. The idle animation, the attention to detail. This is really sick to me. I've always enjoyed game customization. Tekken 6 had a similar thing where your like main online character would show up in the main menu. So that hasn't been here in forever. I can't even remember when Tekken 6 came out. Let me know in the comments, like 2008. It's been a long time. So this is a really, really cool feature. So they show REINA. Every time you switch a tab, it changes the angle. Yeah, really, really sick. So then they change it also to show Lars. And instead of his default costume, they're going to show preset 3 or default 3. I wonder if eventually they'll let customs, but that will lead to some goofy situations. You know, people are going to have degenerate customs and they're going to look really strange. I think they care about kind of like the IP value, right? Like, this is our game, this is our character. Let's take it seriously. Murray notes that Lars looks very handsome here. I will say Lars looks way better than in every iteration of Tekken before. I wish I liked the character more, like gameplay-wise, because he looks so cool. Tons of detail in the model, in the face, in the expressions, in the pose. This is sick. Like, everybody wanted this, you know? So this is really cool. Obviously, the default one, again, is going to be the latest DLC, which was Heihachi. But it's going to be cool. I'm really excited. I wonder if, like, when you go to tournaments, because most people bring their own setups, like, who will you see most commonly? Maybe just the default DLC. But that's Lars. And then they show a few more. Now, obviously, I am in transition between mains, but my first like real main in this game was LILI, and I think they did a fantastic job. So this is where they mentioned that they tuned the eye contact, specifically the facial expression. This is where they talk about it to convey a different sense of character. Like Lars is kind of serious, LILI is directly staring at you, like by default. And this is all on purpose. It will become more clear why when we look at the other characters, which you can see below. I don't know what they're saying. Oh yeah. So he's saying HWOARANG won't really look at you, but Lili's looking at you directly.
Each character has all these fine settings for not only the light, but also the animation. The facial animation.
Right. And if you guys have ever worked with character models, you'll know that lighting is everything. If you have a really good model and terrible lighting, it'll look awful. So I think that's why they've been so hesitant or like being really careful about this. Like Deviljin has a slight smirk, looking ahead, straight at you. This is cool. This is so cool. Very careful lighting to make all the clothing details show up. I'm a fan, man. I'm a fan of this. Few other angles here. And then yeah, so if you didn't catch it in the in what the developers were saying, it's that HWOARANG himself actually avoids eye contact. I don't know why, but that is a character trait they chose to highlight. So let me back up to where they first load in. It looks like they just picked default one. If you're tired of this already, by the way, again, tons of timestamps below. Okay, so that tab has the side profile. Okay, it looks like he's looking at me, so I don't know what they were saying. Oh, there we go. He looks away. So he looks at you for like a little bit. Or maybe if you turn the camera to the side, does he like look away? Like here he's looking. Do his eyes move forward? Is that how that works? Do they have the technology? That's pretty cool. I'm noticing way more details that I didn't notice before. Just like Tekken has so many particle effects and so much movement that you don't really pay attention to the costumes. Maybe you do. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to play around with this. I want to see Steve, because Steve, from his trailer, people said he looked really ugly. I really wonder if like they found a way to make Steve look good, because it was a struggle. Anyways, that's the main menu change. Now, online practice and fight lounge changes. So I don't care too much about the fight lounge change. I wish they actually had more one-on-one cabinets. Oh, actually, wait, it looks like they do. They have a ton of one-on-one cabinets here. That's really useful for tournaments, because in tournament, it's hard to matchmake with people. So these one-on-one cabinets are pretty huge. They've changed the layout. And then they have the group matches here. Some people like this a lot, especially I think in my Discord, tons of people run matches. And a group system like this might just be the best for them. But then they've added finally online practice. I believe the last time we had this was Tekken Tag 2. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But online practice, collaborative practice is so useful, not just for like coaches, but for friends trying to like recreate situations. Because Tekken is a game with insane amounts of situations and insane amounts of variance. Understanding those situations can make a big difference in like just winning a basic match or just improving as a player overall. They've also added new displays to practice mode, and they've improved special style, right? Special style, it might not seem that important to you, but I think the more robust special style is, the more people have access to Tekken, the more fun it is, the better. To me, that is just kind of a no-brainer. I support like improving special style because I want more people playing Tekken. That's really the bottom line, right? And if the obstacle to them is not wanting to do like classic arcade inputs, that's fine with me. I think that a good player will win regardless of what the opponent is doing. And that is what we should aspire to. Now, they have more one-on-one cabinets. That's what I didn't realize. They moved all the group ones to this center pillar and then this back corner. That's a very exciting change for me. The Tekken Lounge, I'm going to be in the lounge more often. Now, they have these two cabinets where it says train. I'm assuming this is an online practice one, but you'll notice that it's different from these, where these practice setups have a leader and a... what's the second one? Follower? Passenger? Partner. A leader and a partner. So the leader gets to change all of the practice mode settings. So if you're like a coach or like the more experienced player, you'll be the leader, right? Super, super cool stuff. Like finally, this is what people have been asking for, especially like trying to get a new friend into the game. You don't live together. You don't live nearby. This is like the future. You just get to practice together and teach each other, like get someone up to speed more quickly than just having them grind games. People have been running lobbies with like maximum time and 5 rounds, and it's just so inconvenient. Anyways, so here they do a demonstration of like online practice. It's nothing too exciting. They're just kind of showing that like when Kazuya hell sweeps you, you can teach somebody how to wake up against it properly, how to get up off the ground, which is legitimate. This is really cool stuff. And you'll notice that at the top, they have health numbers now. You see that? They have health numbers to show you specific values, and they dig more into that later. Let's keep it moving, because as excited as I am, there's a lot more. The one thing that's really interesting about this online practice mode is both players, on their perspective, can be on the player one side, right? So that mirroring feature, that's what he's talking about right now, is available there, so you can select your side. For offline, this will be a bit difficult to translate to, but it's a great way, again, to get people started on the game, which is... the main sticking point for Tekken is getting people to start and keep playing, because it's such a complicated, deep game. Okay, now they're going to show more practice mode details. The first thing, I think my timestamp is wrong. I think it's 144. They show Urban Square now featuring Nike ads. They made a point of that. Wow, there's a lot of them. Oh my goodness. But new practice features. This, for experienced players, for new players alike, is so huge. In 2D games, if you hit the reset button and hit forward or back or down, you change the position of the character. Now, if you hold forward and reset, you start your opponent at the wall. It's so simple. You don't have to go through so many menus to set up a wall situation. If you hold backwards, your back is to the wall. And then I assume if you hold down or up, it puts you back in the center. Or maybe you just do the standard reset touchpad feature. But this is good labbing. It's good for everybody. It's good for competitors. It's good for people sweating. It's good for casuals who just like going into practice mode and trying out how the game works, right? I love this. I love this. As someone who doesn't practice enough, this helps me practice more. Now, new display options. Here it says health info, right? Let me go back to the menu here, right? So in the display settings, there's health info. And what that shows is the number on top. And at first, it might not seem that useful. Like, great, I have 180 health. When I'm at half, I have 90. But there's tons of stuff this lets you do now, right? So, for example, in addition to this new setting where you can disable health recovery, look at here. Player health auto recover, player health recover limit, set the current player health, and then you can do the same for the opponent. This lets you do things, for example, with Elisa, where you can calculate your chip damage. So if you're running like an offensive sequence and you want to chip your opponent, you can stop them from healing, and it will show in the parentheses is how much gray health they have, and the gold is how much current, like proper health they have, right? So you can calculate when you do a sequence how much chip damage you're doing. You can see the difference when you're in heat versus when you're not in heat, right? There's also tons of small things, like say, for example, you got put in a situation in a real game where you were about to lose and then you got like a big heal, or your opponent got a big heal off, right? You can see now how much you heal off of a heat engage, right? We could see, is this universal? Is it different per character? I don't know the details of this, and now we get to dig into it because they're revealing. I'm assuming it's universal, what the heal is. Maybe it depends on the strength of the heat engager, but this is really cool. This lets us dig in and optimize. It's not just a game of instinct and fighting. Like, there are players who like to do these kinds of by the numbers improvement, and to me, this is really sick. Other stuff that really matters is now that you can set your own HP and set like the recovery, you can do a rage art at 1 HP and see how much damage it does versus a rage art at full HP versus a rage art in the middle of a combo. You can figure it out very specifically. Like now you can see a rage art does like 80 damage when you're at 1 HP. What is it, like 82 or like 72? Like this is great information. This is amazing. It's 82. Okay, this is 82 damage off of a rage art. Now you can optimize your combos depending on where your health is, and you can test it out and get better at doing it without just grinding games. It's so hard to describe how excited these features make me. Another thing they've added is something that I've noticed in Street Fighter, because I've been playing that, is there's an action after a hit or a block, right? So like your opponent blocks and then after they'll do an action like punish you or duck or jump. Now you can change how many hits it takes for them to do their second action. Right, so it says standing block and then punish, but maybe you want to hit them twice before they go for their punish, right? This is also so huge for setting up specific situations. So now he's going to set Lars, I'll fast forward a bit, he's going to set Lars to do a specific punish technique at some point. Right, so there's 2 hits and then he does the power crush. And he blocks after the second hit, right? But only if the 2 hits happen. If you just get 1 hit, like that won't happen. So this is an incredible change for building situational awareness, for building new muscle memory, for optimizing matchups. We're not guessing anymore. We're not just grinding. We can specifically create situations to improve at the game. This is so exciting. This gives NA an edge as well, because NA inherently labs more because we don't have the population density of other regions. So, woo! Big change for us. Other small change, again helpful for new players, is if you hit the touchpad in the move list, it now filters by the move's property. So these are all her tornado moves. The last one was all of her homing moves, right? These are all what? Homing heat engage. These are all heat engagers, right? So she has homing ones, she has non-homing ones, and then there's like the wall break. There's the armor moves. This is so sick for new players. What are my armor moves again? What are my options? Hit the touchpad. When trying to teach a player to get through a move list this big, that kind of change is crucial. It's so nice. Okay, the coaching meta has improved, right? Just by all of these changes. Okay, let's take a step back. Now, also friendly to new players is the special style changes, right? So you have always been able to modify your moves with different directions, but now by doing different directions during your air combo, you can modify the combo, right? So they demonstrate that. I don't know the specific details of what moves, but you can see that Elise is picking different moves. And they also made it more robust. Before, if you got them in the air with like a low parry or you like anti-aired them, you just kept spamming the same launcher. But now the game recognizes that you low parried them. I don't know if it recognizes that you hit them out of the air, but it gives you a follow-up to this airborne move now, which is huge because now you're not stuck doing the same move over and over again. They're slowly making special style more flexible, more versatile, and in general more complete so that people can truly play Tekken with special style, right? Which again, as I said earlier, I think is a good thing. I think getting more people to play the game is fine. If you're like, oh my god, these scrubs are just special styling, be better. If you're better, it doesn't matter. Anyways, the special style move list is also now a thing. So you could see what moves are associated with which commands, and they listed this not only to make it easier to play the character, but if you decide to graduate, they use the word graduate, from special style to classic arcade controls, you know which moves are being used, right? You like they give you the proper input to tell you like what is going on, and I think that's phenomenal. All of these changes I'm a fan of for beginners, for experienced players, for players helping a friend learn the game. They've made this so accessible. And that is so fantastic to me. Now, on top of that, they have made improvements to the ranked mode. They have finally made improvements to the ranked mode. I made a video that is now officially out of date that breaks down all the points you gain and lose at each rank for each level of like rank distance, right? How much you earn for fighting someone a rank above you, 2 ranks above you, 3 ranks above you, and then 1, 2, and 3 below. They are overhauling. They are overhauling it completely. So there's 2 things. They're overhauling the matchmaking and the points gained. Okay. Okay. So +or-2 only is going to prioritize people closer to you instead of, I think, just being a blanket +or-2 only. So like less God of Destruction versus Tekken God, maybe more God of Destruction close matches, right? And then +or-3 is going to be strict. It used to allow some people above and beyond, but now it's going to only keep it within +or-3. And then no limit lets you really match with anybody, but they're continuing to narrow it. They want to keep the matchmaking closer in skill. And I think because of the bigger population playing this game than Tekken 7, they can do this. It's hard to limit matchmaking if there's less players, but if you have a big enough pool, they can do things like this. I think that's exciting. The rank point tuning. I think ranked is a system that needs a lot of attention. This is a fantastic start, and they're continuing to monitor it. Okay, this is what I like. So, when you beat someone way higher ranked than you, you will shoot up. You get way more points. When you lose to someone higher ranked than you, you don't lose as many points. Before, it was the opposite. You could beat someone tons of ranks above you and get the same points if they were the same. If you lose to someone way higher than you, you actually lose more points than if you lose to someone lower ranked than you. And that just logically made no sense, right? Basically, and then they're reducing the amount of change in points if the ranks are really, really far, +or-4, right? They said they tuned this by player feedback and like their own backend data. So they're making informed decisions according to them by both what they have and what people are saying. And the fact that they're considering player feedback at all, I think is huge, because it's so easy to just refer to your backend data, say the players don't know what they're talking about, and move on. But they're listening. And I think that's a big deal. I think that's a huge, huge, huge deal. Now, stricter matchmaking I already mentioned, and then point distribution being fixed. Okay, I just rehashed my notes by just reading the slide. Nice. They did note that they're aware that once you hit the top rank, there's a lack of motivation. They haven't come to a solution yet, but Nakatsu specifically is paying attention to this and trying to come up with ideas. I would take this opportunity to beg for like an MR system like Street Fighter, where once you hit master rank, it creates an ELO ladder of like points, right? And the leaderboard is built on those points. And the top, say, 500 players have this legend rank. They could call it like true Tekken God or something, you know? The true Tekken Gods are above, like the top 500 of the ladder, top 200, whatever they want to do. I think that would be fantastic, not only for keeping people motivated, but for also improving matchmaking. Because right now, if you're God of Destruction, there's still a big like skill spread. The God of Destructions that are like pro tournament going players are way better than even me, who is like a former like aggressive tournament traveler, now content creator. And the difference between me and someone who just hit God of Destruction on their first Tekken is also very big. So the rank itself has such a huge skill gap. I would love some form of ladder or elo system that helps the top of the ladder match with each other, helps the middle match with each other, and the bottom. It's more fun for everybody. You can progress more smoothly instead of having like, oh, I fought somebody my level. Oh, I'm fighting Arslan Ash. You know, like some kind of middle ground I think is a bit more fun. It gives you more progression. It keeps motivation high. And then the proper leaderboard is going to attract the best players to keep staying on top. I think that's better than a ranked reset. I think a ranked reset feels like deleting your save. And unless you play the game a lot, that's not very fun. Even if you do play the game a lot, that's not very fun. That's my take. Curious what you think. Finally, another quality of life feature. After a quick match, ranked match, whatever, you can immediately go to the replay. They really are considering making it as easy as possible to learn how to play the game. And that is so important. That ultimately, everything that I've enjoyed about this, from special style changes to the ranked mode, like the point distribution, to the replays, to practice restart options, they're making the game easier to understand, to practice. They're making it more fun to practice. It's less of a hassle. It's less tedious. And that is so, so important. So I'm a big fan of these changes. Those are the quality of life changes. Lastly, they talk about the Tekken World Tour. The final master event is Tiger Uppercut. In mid-October, they'll confirm all the finalists. They'll lock the leaderboard. They haven't determined if Heihachi is legal for this tournament yet. They're leaving it up to the tournament organizer. It would be crazy if he's legal. I will say that. I will say that. Once we go through the character, you'll probably understand why. The finals for the Tekken World Tour are in Shibuya, Tokyo. It's a 4-day event, so they list 2 days. These are the 2 days of the finals. December 5th and 6th are the LCQ. It's also the 30th anniversary of Tekken, and it's going to be completely free to spectate. So if you go to Japan, which is probably the expensive part, you can show up and watch for free. And then they're opening extra rounds of LCQ sign-up slots. They keep selling out because everybody wants to fight and compete. So they're opening up another round, but they're usually really limited. So you have to pay attention on like Twitter to see like when they open up the spots. Last few announcements. They want to feature fan art both in-game and on streams. It depends on how much they like it. Depends on the quality, things like that. Yeah, Wolfmarker is their art is in-game, right? So 30th anniversary, they want you to submit your stuff. They also are accepting photo mode submissions. These won't be in-game, but they'll be on like official events or streams. I don't know who did this, but you know, power to you. They have a King action figure in development. You're able to pre-order Nino Williams soon, removable sunglasses. That's pretty cool. And then they have another limited edition watch, I guess. And these watches are, you have to like wind them up. They're not like quartz or automatic winding. I don't know. I'm not a watch guy. Maybe I'll become one. But you have to wind them. That's what they said. And then there's like 150 units of each. So very, very limited. I don't know how expensive they are. Yeah. Finally, the last thing they said while this animation was playing is that they do a lot of cross licensing. So Harada talked for like a long time here, and he was saying that yeah, they people accuse them of like being aggressive with their patents or their invention property or whatever, and they said no, we actually work with other fighting game developers to improve each other's games. So Street Fighter is getting replay takeover. I don't know if that's specifically a Tekken feature, but I have a hunch that because they brought it up and because Terry just released with replay takeover, at least I think it was in that patch, that this may be a shared feature. And likewise, Tekken getting like, say, action after block or these restart positions. I doubt that was like heavily protected stuff, but it's clear that these fighting game developers are collaborating with each other to make the games more enjoyable for everybody to play. And that is so cool. So that was the Tekken Talk minus Heihachi. Tried to keep it as short as possible. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Please let me know if this kind of video is helpful in the comments. Would you rather have seen Heihachi in this? I try to keep the runtime low just so, you know, people don't get like, oh my god, I don't want to watch an hour. But maybe you do. Let me know. That's all I have for you next. That's all I have for you now. Next time we'll go through Heihachi. And then last announcement, I will be in the UK for Red Bull Golden Letters as an official streamer at the event. They will be running exclusive matches on my channel because they can't run every match on the main stream. And we'll be on the Twitch front page on that day. So hopefully you get a chance to stop by. It's going to be really fun. I will try to cover as many of the matches on the YouTube channel as well. It's going to be a great time. Thank you so much for your support, everybody. I really appreciate your positive energy and your attention. I know that time is hard to come by these days, so I appreciate you. Have a good one, everyone. Peace.